Good Sunday morning. I'm Peter Alexander in for Kristen Welker. It has been more than 1,300 days since the last debate between President Biden and former President Trump, the last time either man appeared on a debate stage. In 4 days, they will face off again in the earliest general election debate in history and what may be the most consequential face-to-face in decades. The two candidates and their allies have signaled that they will attempt to portray each other in the most negative light possible, casting Mr. Trump as an unhinged felon and President Biden as not physically or mentally equipped to serve another term.
Crooked Joe's gone to a log cabin to study, prepare. No, he didn't. He's sleeping now because they want to get him good and strong so a little before debate time he gets a shot in the ass.
The things he said are off the wall. I want to be a dictator on day one. I want to move in a direction where he talks about, suspending the Constitution. All I have to do is hear what he says, remind people what he says and what I believe and what he believes.
The stakes are high. More than 73 million people tuned into the first Biden-Trump debate in 2020. And President Biden is spending the weekend at Camp David, hunkering down in formal debate prep. The president's personal lawyer, Bob Bauer, is playing the role of Mr. Trump, reprising his role from 2020. Mr. Trump was on the campaign trail on Saturday. Aides say that he's going to spend time this week meeting privately with advisors at his Florida estate as part of a more informal debate prep process. President Biden, in closed-door fundraisers and on the trail, has previewed what will be one of his key debate messages, that Mr. Trump is now a greater threat to the country than during his time in office.
The threat that Trump poses is greater in his second term than his first. It's clear that when he lost in 2020, something literally snapped in the sky. Now, he's running again, and he's clearly unhinged.
Trump allies are pushing the former president to focus on President Biden's record and some of his own plans, instead of venting about the legal cases against him and repeating false claims of election fraud. President Biden's team expects aggressive attacks on the president's record on immigration and the economy in particular. Tomorrow marks the 2-year anniversary of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, and both the president and vice president are making the fight to protect reproductive rights central to their campaign.
I think that the debate is going to make clear the contrast between our president, the current president, who works on behalf of the American people, fights for the American people, and the former president, who pretty much spends full time fighting for himself.
Mr. Trump's vice presidential shortlist has gotten even shorter. In interviews with NBC News, more than a dozen sources wired into the process tell us that North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance are now emerging as the top finalists. Florida Senator Marco Rubio remains in contention, but those sources say there are doubts about Rubio's enthusiasm for the job. Both Burgum and Vance were asked this week whether they want to be VP.
When he makes that decision, it's solely up to him, and he's the guy that controls the criteria. There's never been a better politician, a better debater, a better communicator.
I think that's ultimately, that's Donald Trump's choice, whether he selects me as vice president. And I feel very comfortable with the fact that I could do the job. But look, you have to have some humility going into this, too.
And on Saturday, NBC News asked Mr. Trump whether his vice presidential pick will come to Thursday's debate.
Most likely, yeah. He'll be there.
Have you decided who your vice president is?
In my mind, yeah.
Do they know?
No, nobody knows.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.